Right, welcome and thank you for joining our Wednesday webinar, a Valentine's Day special. Today we have Don DeHoff, who will talk to us about social media technology and how to use it to get the word out and to promote your club. Don's a member of two clubs. One, he's a member of AEP downtown Columbus, and then also a member of Encore Toastmasters, where he's the Vice President of Education. He is currently the D40 Public Relations Manager. He's been a Toastmaster for almost 7 years now. He's an ACB and an ALB designation. We're going to record this session for replay on the D40 website, and hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A at the end, right, Don? You'll have some time for Q&A? Not too long, is it? Excellent. All right, without further ado, I'll let Don go, and he's got his screen up there. He's going to share his slides, and if you've got any questions, use the chat window, or we'll get to them. Thanks.
Cool. Well, thanks, Scott. Thanks for the introduction. Sure. My name is Don DeHoff, and I'm the D40 Public Relations Manager, and I'm also a technology geek. So I know a little bit about a lot of things, and one of those things is social media. Not only have I learned a lot about it as the public relations manager for the district, but I've also used it for a number of years and tried to learn as much as I can about kind of the different options out there. And one of the things I wanted to do was kind of show a little bit of technology that I really enjoy. If you could go to this URL, and I'm gonna try to put that. Oh, where did it go? See, my technology is already failing me. I want to put this in the chat. So if you go here, if you haven't used a doodle poll before, it's a great way to do a quick poll. And what I wanted to do with this poll is get a little bit of an idea of your familiarity with social media so that can help drive my conversation. So if you could go to the chat and click on that link, or if you could just type that crazy long thing in your browser and take that poll, that'll help me know a little bit about your familiarity. Why should you care about social media? Well, since you're here, you probably already care a little bit about social media. That's a great start. Being interested in it is certainly the first step. But social media can bring a lot of benefits to your club that can expand the outreach efforts and the membership efforts that you're already doing in your club. So it can increase your exposure with little or no cost. Most social media is free. You can pay to advertise, you can pay to expand the reach of some of your content, but at its base level, it's free. And that certainly fits in anyone's budget. So if you want to leverage some tools to help get more word out about your club, or to try to bring more people into your club, it's a great free resource for that. Now, the part that isn't free is that it takes some time. And to do it right, you need to put some time into making it work. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Social media can also help you find guests that you didn't know about. A lot of times with traditional outreach for guests and marketing, you're going to places that you know. You're going to churches, you're going to bulletin boards, you're going to local places where you already know there's a potential audience or there's people, and your reach is only as far as that limited media or that limited location. But with social media, your reach can go around the world in a few days, depending on who you reach out to. And that's a kind of marketing that is almost impossible to get through any other medium that's available to Toastmasters clubs. The other side of social media is not just reaching out to people outside your club, but also to support the people in your club. It's a great way to increase retention, because not only does it show that your club is active, it shows members that your club is active, but It allows you to make sure that the people in your club know what's going on. It's the digital equivalent of a newsletter, but you don't have to wait for it to come in the mail. It really creates an enhanced club environment that increases engagement of your existing members, which we know increases retention. So it's great for getting new people in, but also great for helping to keep people in. And it extends whatever club environment you have beyond the walls. What do I mean by that? If you have a forum outside your club, let's say you go for a happy hour, the nature of that meeting, that nature of that happy hour is going to mirror your club. The formality or informality of the conversation is going to mirror to some extent your club, and the types of things that you discuss and who leads and what kind of example they set, what kind of personality they put forward is going to be similar to your club. And it's just the same for an online forum or for your social media. It allows you to extend whatever environment you've chosen to create for your club outside of the walls. And that's very important because you must think of social media as an extension of your club, because you want it to reflect the environment that you have in your club. You don't want people to see your online presence and think that your club is one way, maybe very informal and fun, and then get to your meeting and it be very stiff and regimented and not fun. You want those two to be in sync so that you set the right expectation for someone who finds you through social media. And everyone's talking about millennials, right? But millennials are just younger members. They're just people who are coming in with fresh perspectives that may be different than what your club is used to, or more importantly, needs that your club is not offering. And social media is certainly the realm of the youth and the realm of younger potential members. And if you are in that space, then it can help you learn more about that group, and more importantly, learn what their needs are. So I'm going to flip over and see if I can check out this poll and see if anybody responded.
Hey, Don,
And
we're having trouble hearing you.
we do have one person.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh, is it back?
Yep. For some reason, we lost your voice there for about 15 seconds or so.
Okay. Sometimes in my mouth, maybe have. Did it happen again? So we have one person that seems to be in the very familiar category, and I really hope that Dawn will chime in with any insights that I forget. And it looks like most people are in this middle category with some familiarity and regular social media user. And those may not overlap. When you say some familiarity, you may mean just as a user of social media. And hopefully today we can talk a little bit more about being a participant, being a content creator in social media. All right, great. That gives me some idea of the audience, and that, as we know in Toastmasters, is very important. So what is social media? There are a lot of different definitions of what social media, the term, is. Forms of electronic communication, online communities, the collective of online communications. A lot of different definitions out there. But what I highlight is these words: community, sharing, these are words that come up a lot in the definition of social media when everyone's talking about social media. So I take all of these definitions of social media, everyone tries to put it in a box, and this is my definition. Communities of shared experiences. Because the most important thing about what social media can do is it's not putting your information out there. It's not blasting advertising out there. Some people use it for advertising, but for it to be really effective, it's really about a community. And a community is a two-way street. It's not only you putting information out there, but it's also getting people to be interested in the information that you're putting out there. And that's what I think about a community. It's it's not just about you, it's about your audience. And it's not just about a one-way street, it's a two-way street. You want to demonstrate that you care what your community thinks of you, your content, and what you could call your brand, which is really that club environment that I was talking about. You want people to care about the fact that your club is a fun club, or your club is a silly club, or it's a singing club, or whatever it is that your club is. You want people to care about that, and you want that to come across. That's the community aspect of it. And the shared experiences is what makes social media really work. You are sharing videos of moments of events that that are happening in social media. You are sharing announcements of things that are important to you, and you are highlighting people. You are highlighting accomplishments. These experiences that are important to your club and important to you and your members are what you're putting out there as that extension of your club environment. You can imagine how much different it is if the social media space that someone visits is just, here's our agenda, here's the list of contest winners, here's when our next meeting is, as opposed to imagery and videos and text that describes the environment of the club and really puts that out there. That's what you want. You don't want it to just be a place for information. Websites are great for that. People can go to your website and just see the agenda. They can just see the information. But social media is about creating that shared experience. Because if people feel like they're part of the experience, then guess what? They're going to want to come in and experience it firsthand. That's what you want to create. And if you are a club member and you are jonesing for that club experience, if you can get it through the social media, if you can feel like when you're participating online, chatting with members, posting pictures, looking through pictures, if you feel like that's in the club, then you are enhancing the club experience for your members. So that's what it's about. That's what you need to remember as sort of the underlying principle of successful social media, is creating that community of shared experiences. So how can you be successful in social media? There are certainly a lot of ways to be successful, a lot of measures of success. And measuring social media success can be an all-day class, and there are. But I like to boil it down to a couple things. And this isn't an exhaustive list, but even for me, but I think these are important. Understand the community. Understand who is in your club that's going to participate in the community, and understand the kind of people that you want to have in your community. And then once your community starts to grow, understand who has joined. Maybe you had an expectation of who would join your community, and that's different than reality. Take the time to understand who's actually in it. You can do a lot of social media participation, but if it's not geared towards the audience that's listening, they're going to tune out. Share your experiential content. That's what I'm talking about with videos and photos and content that really matters. Share things that represent experiences. Sure, you have to share the occasional bit of just information. Here's when our club contest is. But maybe you do that as a video. Maybe you do it as a great image. Maybe you do it as a soundbite. Do it in a way that's experiential, and that will help you be more successful than if you just put text out there. And participate. And when I say participate, I don't mean just post content. I mean, you have to comment on your own content. You have to comment on the comments. You have to comment when people from other social media spaces reference your content. You have to participate in the ongoing experience around your content. If you push out a video about your contest and people are talking about it, people are asking questions, they're saying, how can I get involved in this? What did you guys do to make this fun? How did you make that work? And you're silent, you're missing an opportunity to participate and answer questions and generate even more interest. If you've ever participated in any other space where someone has put forth an idea or content and then you never hear from them again, think about how your interest level went down. Okay, if they're not interested in this, my interest only goes so far. If I can't get anything else out of them, if I can't find out when they're going to post more, your interest level is going to go down. So it's important to participate in the space as a whole to let them know that you're part of the community. All right, so let's go through a couple definitions. Make sure that we're all on the same page. What is a post? If you ever heard that word post and you don't know what it is, it's a generic term. Not every social media space calls it a post. And if you're putting up an image, is that a post? Some people use it as a verb, posting an image. It really just boils down to a generic word that represents whatever content is that you're sharing. And it could be image, it could be video, it could be text, it could be, in the case of what you see here, a Facebook post, multiple things. It's everything. And it should be short and digestible. That's what we see with most posts. If it's not short and digestible, you're not posting, you're pasting in a book. It should be genuine. We go back to experiential content. It should be something genuine. It shouldn't sound like someone would see your name attached to something and say, that doesn't sound like that person at all. It should be useful. You want to post useful content out there, and it should be emotional. These are all the types of things that define a post. It's a piece of information you put out there that has a lot of these qualities and hopefully generates some interest around your social media. Hashtags. Hashtags are a way of creating kind of a category for your post, or to link your post to an idea, or to give it a tag, a hashtag that represents a core or related idea to your post. And you might see something like the examples I have on here, Toastmaster Conference 2018. If you add that hashtag to your content, then it gives, without even having to talk about the conference, you might be talking about someone doing the funky chicken, but this tells you what it's related to. It tells you that it's at the conference. And it also allows you to have multiple posts that all share the same hashtag. And then when someone references that hashtag, they can see all the posts that have that hashtag. It's a kind of a way to group things together without a formal grouping of categories. It also allows you to join other movements. And you see that a lot when you hear about hashtags in the news. Someone might add a hashtag to their content that represents a popular movement. something about women's issues is really really popular or really in focus in the news right now, and you'll see people with a story or a message of support or something from maybe a protest, and they put that hashtag on there to show that they're related to that movement. And again, it groups your content in with other content. Now, I will caution you, though, that you'll also see, if you follow these types of things in the media, that you have to be careful with that genuine word that I put up here earlier, genuine. If you try to associate your content with a popular movement, and either you misrepresent the movement or it's seen as just marketing, you're just trying to take advantage of a movement to market yourself, then that kind of thing can backfire on you. But if you are truly posting content that's related to another movement or another piece of content, then hashtags are a great way to show that that's together.
Hey, Don, I'm doing a check on slides here.
Yeah.
I see since some of the people are seeing only slide number 3 still, and I think you're on maybe 9 or 10.
Oh.
So I wasn't sure. I took some notes here, but for some reason the screen seems to be frozen for all of us.
Let me see if I can
did a couple.
bring it out. Are you seeing slides?
Okay,
I've just gone back.
I see now number 6.
Okay. Let me go. You said most people are on 3. Okay. Let me try it again.
I saw some other people were on 3 there.
Okay. So some social media.
It was working. It was working up until 3, and then and then at 3 it just kind of stopped. And then I think you went on for some of the other slides. But
does it seem to be working now? I'm flipping through some slides here.
It's on 3 now, but I saw it go back and forth. I think from 6 back to 3.
Huh.
So it was.
Well, let's try this. Is this better? Maybe it's going full screen that's causing a problem. Let's just stick with.
This is how to be successful. I think that was the. Now it's on number 7.
Yeah, let me just try to do this, and maybe we can go through them this way. Maybe this will work better.
Okay.
Let me see if I can close that and make this a little bit bigger. Okay, maybe this will work. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I don't know how to move through them now. Hold on. I guess I'll just have to click. Okay. So how to be successful. All right, so go to the definitions. Here you can see an example post from Toastmasters International, and you can see the hashtags that I'm talking about. You can see image content, and all this stuff that's together makes a post. And about hashtags, here's a couple example hashtags that I've either seen or used. All right, and we go to cross-posting. So the idea behind cross-posting is that you would take a bit of content, something timely, maybe you're announcing your contest, and you would put that out on multiple channels. So you would put it on your Facebook page, you'd send it out to Twitter, and you'd also put an image of it on Instagram. And it's a great way to get all of your followers. You may have some people that are only following you on one of those channels or 2 of those channels, and this allows you to get in front of all those people. But one thing I really want to caution you is it's not just a copy and paste, or it shouldn't be. For it to be most effective, you should tailor your content to the particular channel. And that means that you need to understand the different channels and what makes them useful, or what their strengths are, if you will. So if you are, for example, posting about a contest, Instagram is very image heavy. So you'd want to make sure that you choose an image that can be the central focus and can kind of tell a story on its own. You will have a description, but you won't have the same kind of engagement in the text content of an Instagram picture as you will in the image content. Facebook is really going to be about what other people are you linking to in your Facebook? How is the content of the post going to get you into other people's feeds? And so it's a lot about the description around the image as well. And then Twitter, you want to bring your content down to and distill it down into a short message, because that's what the strength of those of that medium is. So you want to tailor your content to that particular medium. So let's go through a couple of mediums and talk about their strengths and what makes them them. Of course, we all know about Facebook, and at the top here you can see the D40 Toastmasters Facebook page. So if you haven't gone there, I'll paste this in the chat. You have that. Facebook is what people think of when they think of social media. It's the grandfather of them all. It's the largest, of course, and the one that people think of when they think of social media. It has the largest social graph, which means that more than likely somebody that you know is on it, and billions of people are on Facebook now. I think they've passed the 2 billion mark now, and I just can't even imagine that many people on there, but certainly they are the largest. And so you have the most potential to reach whoever it is you're trying to reach through Facebook. But at the same time, you also have the greatest potential for your message to get lost in the noise, because there's a lot of noise on Facebook, which is one of the reasons why the other social media channels continue to thrive, because they specialize and they can poke their heads up out of the crowd, if you will. Now, as far as the content on Facebook, it is what I would call the largest posts. You have the largest posts. Usually you will have an image or a video plus textual content that adds to it, and it's where you can get the wordiest, I would say, in general. And the content has the longest lifespan. And maybe as I go through the rest of them, that'll make a little more sense. But if you are a Facebook user, you know that content from Facebook from a while ago can still pop up at any time. You'll see somebody share something from a while ago. Facebook will resurface videos and content from years ago. So that content can come back and pop up after it was initially relevant. And it happens more on Facebook than it seems to in most of the other social media spaces. Twitter is probably one of the second biggest, and it's important to remember that Twitter started out its life as a tool for people to share text messages on their phones that were not smartphones. And that is still the genesis, or the core of what makes Twitter work, is things that are happening right now, short messages about what's going on right now. The graph, when I say the social graph, and when I say social graph, I should have included a slide for this, but it's your relationship to other people in the social media space. You have a certain number of friends on Facebook, you have a certain number of followers on Twitter, and then they have a certain number of followers, and those followers have followers. And that social graph is what allows your content to go beyond just your followers. On Twitter, it tends to be a little more linear. But on Facebook, you'll tend to find people consuming your content that you didn't anticipate. Friends of friends of friends that consume your content more readily than stuff you post on Twitter. So that's interesting. That's one of the reasons why your content goes further on Facebook. So Twitter has shorter posts. Now that's changing. They're trying to grow the size of their posts. I don't know how successful they'll be with that, but they are working on that. And shorter lifespan. Content on Twitter, like I said, tends to be a little more now, right? And one thing that Twitter does have is this idea of what's trending. And that is all about their focus on what's happening now. And you'll see the things that are happening now and being retweeted, shared within that space, filter up to the top very quickly. They're the things that are most popular on Twitter at the moment. And those things get the most attention, and they end up flying around the social graph very quickly. And then they start to die off as new content replaces it. Because really, you're competing against content, very timely content that's happening even more now than your now content. So it happens very quickly on Twitter. LinkedIn is the professional button up your suit cousin to Facebook. And it's important to remember that while there are some technical similarities between a Twitter and a Facebook and a LinkedIn, the expectations of the audience are very different. It's more formal for social media. And remember that the audience in LinkedIn is really focused on career building. They're focused on things that will help them network professionally. They're focused on finding people that are movers and shakers, finding news that's relevant to their industry, finding job openings, learning about companies that they might want to work for. So the aspect of Toastmasters that talks about getting you ready for the business world, or improving your speaking, or improving your ability to move up in the company, really resonates in LinkedIn. Instagram is kind of like a photo sharing site with social media wrapped around it. It's primarily about photography. It's about sharing photos and doctoring photos, putting filters on things. But it's more of what I would say about lifestyle. People post on Instagram, and the people that are really successful on Instagram use the imagery to show a particular lifestyle, or to show a particular side of their personality, if you will. And that takes a lot of content. And to really generate interest in Instagram and to really keep your followers interested, it takes a lot of content. And I think Instagram is a great place to put photos, but to really generate interest in a community in Instagram takes a lot of work, a lot of content, and you really have to curate that content. You have to think about what images you put up there, because if it's a bunch of different random imagery, then people aren't gonna go there to see those images. They want to go to a particular Instagram page to see photos of a particular type. If you're following an actor who's on a movie set, then you're going there to see pictures of them, to see things about the movie that they're currently on, and you see it in the way that reflects their personality. If an actor just had some random pictures every once in a while about different things they're doing, well, I'm not going to say that's not popular, because it is, but it's not as effective in general unless you've already got a brand. If an actor is already a big celebrity, then people will follow them with whether or not they're just posting pictures of their food. But to generate new interest, to generate Instagram interest on its own, the content really needs to reflect a particular lifestyle. YouTube is a social media site because there are conversations that happen around the content. I mean, really, it is a video sharing site, but there's conversations that happen around the videos, and people share the videos. But again, just like Instagram, it's so heavily focused on the video content that, again, you have to be willing to really push that content out there on a regular basis to generate that interest. That doesn't mean that you can't use Instagram or YouTube to put content up that's related to your website or to other social media spaces, but to really make YouTube a success, make your YouTube channel successful, it really needs to be curated with a lot of video content, powerful video content. And if you're posting to YouTube and you want people to really be engaged, make sure it's concise and attention grabbing. I think that some of the best videos out there have a certain level of quality. People will disagree and say that the benefit or the style of YouTube is less quality and more kind of handheld, bad audio, bad video. But if you see some of the stuff that's really popular for a while, or channels that have long-term popularity, there's a certain level of quality. So if you are going down the YouTube route, make sure you learn about things like getting a good microphone, how to light things, and that you have a good camera and a tripod. Things like that can really go a long way to make your content stand out. And Meetup. Meetup is probably the least social media of the social media sites that I'll talk about, because Meetup is connected to real people. And while social media content is technically connected to real people, it may not be showing the genuine side of people. A lot of social media can be seen as marketing. You're obviously putting your best foot forward in the images and content that you share out there. But Meetup is really kind of a way to just get people to come and see you in person. It's really about getting the word out about actual physical groups of people meeting and getting them to come there, which is what differentiates it and also what makes it a great fit for Toastmasters. And a lot of clubs in the district and around Toastmasters have Meetup pages as a way to advertise their meetup. Or, I'm sorry, to advertise their club meeting. Think of it as an online directory of Toastmasters meetings that people actually use, other than the one on the Toastmasters site that people don't use. So this is a way for people to find clubs to visit, and people also go to Meetup to find groups that they may not know about yet. Like what's going on in my area? What's going on around me? What's going on tonight that I might want to visit? And so it's a great way to get people into your physical club. And it's also a great way for you as a club member or as an officer or someone who's interested in getting the word out about your club to find other clubs that you might want to visit and share the message of Toastmasters with, or to find groups that you would want to invite into your club. It's kind of a billboard for your club. It's a way to put up a billboard that says, hey, here's who we are, and when we meet, come on, stop on by and visit our club. And because it's not as much about the content of your meetup, other than trying to keep it regularly updated with things like if you have a change in the venue or the time, or if you're having special events like contests or social occasions related to your club, it's not as much about posting content. I think it's one of the easiest ones to get into. Just create your meetup page, set it up, and link it to somebody's email address so that if someone inquires through Meetup about your club, that you can learn about it. I think it's a great way to get started in Meetup, or in social media, if you will. All right, so let's go back and recap. And I also want to see if anybody has any questions at this point. So how to be successful in social media. Communities have shared experiences, and I've talked about the different communities, the different types of communities, and believe me, there are many more social media channels that I didn't talk about. I talked about some of the major players and the ones I think are most relevant to Toastmasters clubs. But there are a lot of communities out there, and I hope you see a little bit about why it's important for the content to be experiential, to be something that shares the experience of your club and Toastmasters with your audience, and in a way that makes them want to find out more or to visit your club. Understand the community. Not only understand the channel, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, but understand the people that are in it. Understand who wants to visit your content and why. That's really important. Just like in Toastmasters, when you give a speech, it's super important to know your audience. You want to know how to craft your message to make it most successful for that audience. And it's the same in social media. Making sure that you understand your audience helps you craft content that will resonate with them the most. And participate. Certainly when I talk about YouTube and Instagram, participating, putting up content, generating a lifestyle site, if you will, a lifestyle channel is important. But in all of the media, in Facebook, Twitter, any of those, it's important to not only show that you're active and that you're interested in putting new content out there, but also hearing what people's feedback is on your content and answering questions, things like that. That's important, no matter what channel we're talking about. Participating is really, really key. So if you have any questions, feel free to either unmute your microphone or paste it in the chat. I'd be happy to take any questions at this point. All right, so we have so many. If you had success with posting pictures of your club on Meetup. I've not seen, so you're saying that you're posting pictures on Meetup and they're coming out sideways and you're unable to rotate them. I have not seen that particular issue with pictures on Meetup. It's possible that if you're taking, I've seen this with a phone, if you take a picture with a phone, on an iPhone, your phone will correctly rotate the image because it knows what rotation the phone was when you took it. But then when you send it to other applications, like Microsoft is famous for this, it doesn't honor the correct rotation of your image. So it's possible that's what's happening. If you have your phone sideways, and that could be part of the problem. But I would encourage you to reach out to me after this, and I will hook you up with our Meetup specialist, and maybe he has a way to answer that. But I've not had that. But I would encourage anyone who uses Meetup to definitely add pictures to their Meetup so that you can give them an idea of what the club experience is, but also again to try to generate that idea of what the environment is going to be that they're going to get into. If you post pictures of everyone in crazy hats and dressing up every time, people want to know that's the environment that they're getting into. I have templates of social media posts for beginners. I do not have that at the moment, but I will definitely, I can send some of those out to the group, some templates or maybe some examples of some posts that have been on the D40 site, or some other posts that I think have been really good. That's a great thing that I can send out to everyone that was on this meeting. Okay, we have a drink of wine. I wish it was wine.
While you're doing that, just really a great summary at the end. Thanks for tying everything together, and I really appreciate the definition that you had, communities of shared experiences. I think that puts a different light in, at least from my perspective, what the definition of social media is. I really appreciate the expansion of that. So I think Robert has a question
here. No problem. I think that's important. Yeah. So can I send this to Club DPRs?
I'm assuming the slide package.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the slide package. Yeah, we can. Yeah, what we could do, I think, is maybe post this to. We'll send it two ways, I guess. We could send it out via email for those of you who like email, but we can also, I think, use the slides and link it to the video when we put it on the D40 site. For those of you who like to use websites, maybe.
Griffin had a question about analytics. I have not done a lot with analytics. I have to admit that. It is certainly a very useful part of social media, but again, it takes even more time, right? It takes more time to make sure that you're following your analytics. I have done a little bit of analytics here and there, just kind of monitoring the numbers. But if I just skip forward here, Hootsuite is a great tool that you might use to help you monitor analytics across platforms. Hootsuite is a great tool, a free tool for posting content to multiple channels, monitoring multiple channels, and looking at analytics across multiple channels. That's a great way to do that. I know that that's one of the things that I'd like to grow in is doing better with analytics, especially like you said, across it. Oh, and you're already using it already. That's great.
Hmm.
Fantastic. Real quick, so we're running out of time. I'm getting a little wordy. Let me go through just a couple more things. I think it's important when you get into social media, or even if you're already in social media, to have a strategy and a policy. And those are two different things, and I want to talk a little bit about their difference. Your strategy is, what are your goals? Who's your audience? Who's on your team? And things like, how often are you going to post? What are you going to post? And what will be your voice? How are you going to talk about things? Are you going to be formal? Are you going to be fun? Are you going to be funny? Are you going to joke? Are you going to be serious? Those kinds of things are great to have as a strategy. And really, I think the most important reason for having this strategy is not for you, because you know what you want to do. It's for the rest of your team. If you have to get more people to help you, or if you go on vacation, somebody else needs to help you, they have this guideline. And then if you pass this on to somebody else, the next VPPR or the next person who's in charge of your social media, they can use this strategy to guide themselves. And then policy is more of, what rules are you going to follow in your content? And really it boils down to be nice. But I wanted to highlight that there's a social media policy you can use as an example on the Toastmasters site. And let me paste this in real quick. And I'll go over to, you know what, I don't think I'm taking a lot of time, but look that up, and there's a section in there about the social media policy, and it says things like, be positive, no personal attacks, don't get into politics, don't don't disparage people, things like that. And it also says follow the Toastmasters guide for how to conduct yourself as a Toastmaster. So things like that are great just to have, to say, these are our guiding policies. Know your audience. I talked about why that's important. How can you do that? Look around your club. Look at the kind of people that you want in your actual physical club. If you are a club for professionals, or if you're a club for people in a certain industry, all those kinds of things will reflect probably what types of people you want to go towards in social media. And you can also send out surveys to your members, to guests, to people in the public. You might put up a survey on a website and have people in the community check it out, or make a paper survey that you put in a box at a library to find out what people would like from their local Toastmasters club. Get out there and try to figure out who your audience is. Don't just guess. Actually find out who they are. I talked a little about Hootsuite. Definitely check Hootsuite out. That is, if you start to get into multiple social media platforms, this is great for you. All of this information I've given you is out of date. And that's important to know, that social media is always changing. And if you really want to be successful in social media, you should commit to being part of the space. And I don't mean that you need to be an expert, but participate and understand the things that are changing. The individual requirements and features of the tools change very quickly. And it's important to know the new rules. It's important to know the new capabilities of the channels. A couple of final thoughts. Use social media and other marketing efforts to drive people to your website. One thing that you can find, whether you're a social media consumer or it's part of what you're trying to put out there, stuff can get lost. Social media in general is about what's going on now, what's hot now. And if you use it as a place to store information or to really try to make that the place where people can find information about your club, it's going to get lost. Use your website for that. That's what it does well. But use social media to drive people back there. And the other thing is, if you have a big write-up about an event, don't try to put all that information in social media. Put the blurbs that make sense for that channel, and then drive people back to your website for more information. Start small with a few platforms. If you're just starting to get into social media for your club, just start with one. And maybe don't start with Facebook. Unless you're already really familiar with Facebook, you might not want to start with Facebook. Start with an Instagram page, start with YouTube, start with Meetup, places where you can, it's more defined in what your goals are. I just want to put some videos up. I just want to put some images up and understand the space in general. And become a consumer, and I've left out a parentheses there. Become a consumer of social media. Don't just think about you're just a social media person for your club. Also participate. Join the D40 Facebook page. Join the Toastmasters International members page and participate and see what it's like to be part of a community. See what things resonate with you as a consumer of social media so that you can use that to guide your decisions on what information to put out about your club. And that's it. And please, if you have any questions, if there's something else I can talk about, please let me know. We've got like 8 minutes, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Thanks, Don. I really appreciate all the different types of channels and the purpose for each one of those. I think that's really important. Also, giving us some strategies for just thinking about what we can do to promote our own clubs and our own sites. And I really liked the last part there. Be ready for change because it's probably going to be outdated. So I think that, you know, in the age of information that we're in, you know, there's different ways of communicating the right channel for the right purpose.
Definitely.
So any other questions from the audience?
Yeah, Teresa, it can be very overwhelming to figure out where to begin. And that's why I really recommend starting small. Definitely get your feet wet. Don't think that you need to have a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram page all going at the same time, because you're not going to be successful. If you're just getting into it and you try to spread yourself too thin, you're not going to be super successful. It probably makes sense for most clubs to go ahead and set up accounts in these different places, because then you at least can have somebody find you if they're going through that channel. They happen to wander across you, even if you don't have a lot of content there. There's not a lot of harm there. But pick one and really start to go for it and make it your own, and understand how you're going to create compelling content for that particular channel, and then build from there. And also, don't be afraid to build a team. Don't think that you, as the person who's been tapped for social media, whether you're the VPPR or not, don't think you have to go it alone. And you can also say, well, I'm going to be the Facebook person. You be the Twitter person. You be the Instagram person. Don't be afraid to divide up that work and get a team. And heck, it doesn't have to all be people who are in your club. You know, if you have a friend or a family member that's willing to help out, sure, bring them on. Let them help you out.
Great advice. Yeah, don't take it all on yourself. That'll be the recipe for burnout real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like how you went to drive social media to your site. So I guess my question is, like, if somebody's got a free host site, should you be using maybe like Instagram or Facebook to try to get those people to go to your free toast site? Maybe is that a good strategy, or maybe is there something different?
No, certainly that's a great strategy. I think your free Toasto site is a great place to put information about your meeting. Who were your recent contest winners? Describe your meetings. Maybe you have a list of the things that are upcoming events. And then if you have one of those events and you post a picture on Instagram, definitely tag your website so people can go back to them, and then they can find the other content. They're only seeing that one Instagram post
Right.
out of context. If they then go to your site, and cross posting also means that they may go from Instagram directly to your Facebook page, and that's not a bad thing either. They may see an Instagram post and then end up on your Facebook page and then end up on your website. But if you have those things cross-linked, then you can make sure that you find people wherever they're coming in and then get them to your other content that might compel them to want to come in to your club.
Excellent. All right, any other questions? Something spur your thought process on here in the past 2-3 minutes?
I certainly want to thank everyone who has come out to listen to this webinar. It's great to be able to get this information out there and let you know that I'm here as a resource. If something comes up to you after this webinar and you want to ask a question, feel free to reach out.
And you said you had a team of people, right,
Don?
You have a team of people, not just yourself, but you have a team of people that are helping on that?
Yeah,
on your
and that
platform?
team is always kind of changing, and some stuff I do myself. Some people help out on the Facebook page and whatnot. You can have a formal relationship, or you can have an informal relationship, whatever works for you. But it does help to have a team.
Okay.
So Don asked, do you find that
Yep.
different social sites work for different purposes, like Meetup for membership building and others for engagement? I think that's true. I think that you'll find that Meetup is great for bringing people in the door. I don't know if I'd say that Meetup is great for membership building. I think your club environment is the best for membership building. However people find you, whether it's through Meetup or any other social media channels, the experience they have when they get to your club, because unless you're in an online club, the strength of your club and the experience of your club is in the physical club meeting. People aren't going to join your club just because you posted a lot of great photos on Instagram. That may draw them in, just like a Meetup description may draw them in, but it's important that, again, that you have a good environment in your club and that you make your social media a genuine reflection of that. But I think it's important to know that certain sites are going to generate a lot of interest around events. So if you're talking about something like a contest, or probably more like an after hours event, that type of content is going to be fun. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to really resonate well on an Instagram page or a Facebook page. Whereas if you are doing a seminar and you have local famous people, let's say famous people, could be dignitaries, could be business people, whatever, and you're talking about important speaking tips, or you're talking about engagement type tips, that's going to resonate really well with a LinkedIn audience that's looking to build their skills around professions. So that's what I think is the strength of the different purposes, the different channels. I don't know that a channel would map up well with a particular club purpose. I think it's all about getting the word out. It's all about generating interest in your club to get people in the door.
Excellent. Okay, well, I think we're done with our time here. I really appreciate all your participation today. Like I said, we'll get the recording sent out to the D40 website. We don't want to send this whole multi-gigabyte file over email, of course. So, but we'll also post the slides here as well. So Don and I will coordinate on that. Thanks again for your time, and have a great evening.
All right, thanks everyone. Bye.
Take care.